Hello everyone. Let's start our story in April 1981 on a lonely stretch of Greenlee Road in Newton Township, Ohio. A passerby discovers the body of a young woman, and the case quickly grips the local community. What were those first moments like for investigators on the scene?
The discovery was as chilling as it was mysterious. The victim wore a distinctive buckskin poncho, prompting police to call her the Buckskin Girl. The scene was somber, her body carefully examined for any clues, with investigators knowing they faced a daunting challenge.
It's hard to imagine the weight of that moment. The lack of identification must have made their work even tougher. How did they approach the initial examination and evidence gathering?
They meticulously documented the site, collected trace evidence, and photographed her unique clothing. Forensics was less advanced then, so they relied on fingerprints, dental records, and physical description shopping someone would recognize her face or attire.
Given today's advanced technology, it's easy to forget how limited forensic tools were in 1981. Can you walk us through the challenges investigators faced during that era?
Absolutely. Back then, DNA analysis was in its infancy. The first criminal conviction using DNA wouldn't happen until 1987. Investigators mostly depended on fingerprints, dental records, and artist sketches. If a victim wasn't in the system, leads quickly dried up.
So, even with a thorough investigation, they were essentially waiting for a lucky break or for someone to come forward. Did they try any novel approaches at the time?
They circulated composite sketches, contacted missing persons bureaus, and even publicized the case nationally. But without a centralized database or digital tools, matching unidentified bodies to missing persons was painstaking and often unsuccessful.
Let's talk about the buckskin poncho itself. It became the symbol of the case. How did this item shape the investigation and public perception?
That poncho was striking rare for the time and memorable. Investigators hoped it would jog someone's memory. The media seized on it too, turning Buckskin Girl into a nickname that stuck for decades, keeping her story alive in the public's mind.
Did they ever trace the origin of the poncho? Could it have pointed to a specific region or subculture?
They consulted clothing experts, even Native American artisans, but it proved mass-produced. The uniqueness was more symbolic than practical for the investigation, yet it helped humanize an otherwise anonymous victim.
Moving to the autopsy, the coroner found severe head and neck trauma, followed by strangulation. What did these findings suggest about what happened to her?
The injuries indicated a violent struggle, possibly attempted restraint, or a fight for her life. The timing, about 48 hours before discovery, suggested she'd been left in the ditch for some time. This pointed to a personal, perhaps premeditated, assault.
Were there any forensic indicators of who the assailant might have been? Any DNA or other clues left behind?
Unfortunately, forensic science couldn't extract much at the time. No clear DNA profile could be developed, and there were no fingerprints. It's one reason her case became so cold, so quickly.
Despite the odds, investigators never gave up. For over 30 years, the Buckskin Girl's identity remained a mystery. What kept the case alive for so long?
Persistence from both law enforcement and the community. The case was featured in national missing persons bulletins, and volunteers helped keep her memory alive. Periodic media coverage reignited public interest, preventing her from being forgotten.
It's remarkable that her story continued to resonate. Did technological advances in the 2000s change the outlook for the case?
Absolutely. As DNA databases grew and forensic genealogy emerged, cold case detectives revisited old files, hoping new science could finally bring answers where traditional methods had failed.
Let's dive deeper into the science. By the 2010s, DNA analysis had evolved dramatically. How did these advances transform the Buckskin Girl investigation?
The introduction of high-resolution DNA sequencing allowed labs to extract viable genetic material even from decades-old evidence. Using techniques like SNP profiling, investigators could compare the Buckskin Girl's DNA to national and international databases.
For listeners unfamiliar with SNP profiling, could you explain it with a simple analogy?
Think of SNPs as tiny spelling differences in our genetic code. By matching these typos across millions of people, analysts can pinpoint relative 7 distant ones, much like finding a family by tracing unique signatures in their letters.
In 2018, forensic genealogy made headlines by solving cases once thought unsolvable. How did this method finally unlock the Buckskin Girl's identity?
Genealogists uploaded her DNA profile to public ancestry sites, searching for distant relatives. By tracing family trees and triangulating shared DNA segments, they narrowed the search until they identified Marcia Lenore King from Little Rock, Arkansas.
It's amazing how family trees and science converged. Does this approach work in most cold cases, or was the Buckskin Girl an exception?
It's increasingly common, especially when traditional leads run dry. In fact, a 2019 study found forensic genealogy helped solve over 50 cold cases in just 2 years, dramatically changing outcomes for unidentified victims.
Let's not forget the personal side. Marcia King's family never officially reported her missing, yet they never stopped searching. How did her identification impact them after decades of uncertainty?
For her family, it was a bittersweet resolution relief to finally know her fate, sorrow for what she endured. Many families in similar cases describe it as both closure and the reopening of old wounds, especially when justice remains elusive.
In cases like this, does the lack of an official missing persons report hinder investigations?
Absolutely. Without a report, connections can be missed for years. It's a tragic reminder of the importance of filing reports, even if families hold out hope for a loved one's return.
Although Marcia has her name back, her killer remains unidentified. What strategies are law enforcement pursuing today to finally solve her murder?
Investigators are re-examining evidence with modern techniques, including touch DNA and advanced toxicology. They're also leveraging digital tip lines and social media, hoping someone with knowledge will finally come forward after all these years.
Given the time that's passed, are there still realistic hopes for an arrest?
History shows cold cases can break unexpectedly. In 2018 alone, 28% of solved cold cases were over 20 years old. As long as evidence exists and memories remain, hope persists.
As we wrap up, let's consider the ripple effects. How has the Buckskin Girl story influenced cold case investigations and public attitudes toward unidentified victims?
Her case is a landmark, inspiring renewed investment in forensic technology and bringing attention to thousands of unidentified victims nationwide. Projects like NAMUS have centralized databases, making it easier to connect families and solve old mysteries.
Do you think public engagement through media, genealogy, or volunteerism will continue to shape these cases?
Absolutely. Crowdsourcing, open-source genealogy, and social media have empowered ordinary people to assist police. The Buckskin Girl story reminds us that every victim deserves a name, and every family deserves answers.